Hello, hi everyone. I hope you all well. Welcome to African STEM Girl. Welcome to part two of building a responsive login and sign up. Sorry about that. So yesterday we were able to accomplish several things. The first thing is we were able to add the structure of our form. We were also able to add some CSS. We were able to add some icons and get them using an app or a browser that mostly focuses on icons. So today we are just going to continue finalizing on styling and also finalizing on adding the JavaScript or the responsiveness of this particular website. So let me just make sure that everything is muted so that we do not face any interruptions. Okay, so some of you were able to send me some of the things that you had built from yesterday's session. So I'll make sure that that is taken care of in terms of in terms of giving you feedback on how to improve your designs and so forth. So in case you want to know how to reach out to me, I am going also to drop my email, and feel free to reach out to me and show me the progress you have made. I'm working on creating a Discord channel that we can just be joining and communicating with each other on what we are facing with our designs and helping each other out. So this is what we were able to accomplish yesterday. We were able to add the dark mode, which a lot of us use nowadays. We were able to add the email field and the password, and also to add styling such that whenever we hover or we focus on inputting the email or the password, we see this purple background. We're able also to add this icon that I showed you. We are going to make it responsive once we get on the JavaScript side. And also we are able to add the forget link and to add this button and add that transition, as you can see there. So I'm just going to first start by adding some space between these two input fields, just so that it is able to look more appealing, and also the forget link. So if I come to my code, I will find this. So this is our end goal. This is what we are trying to accomplish. And this is actually what we want for our website, that when we can even type, we can be able to see the password, and we can hide the password and continue with our process of logging in. So this is our CSS. This is how it's looking like so far. We were able to add a font, a Google font known as Poppins, and I was able to show you how to do that and to import a Google font. We changed the background color, and we also made sure that we streamlined the text color. We also went ahead and added some HTML, or the structure of our login form. We were able to import or connect both the HTML and the CSS using the link tag. We were able also to add icons on our project using the box icons, and we were able to add it such that we can be able to successfully use those icons. So we're just going to continue with what you are doing, finalizing. So like I have said, I would want to start with working on how these two forms look like. So if I go to my HTML, I need to find where that code is. So that code is on here is that code where we have a form with a class of field and input field and email and so forth. So the goal is to put a space in this particular style. So I'll come to my CSS. In case you were not able to join us yesterday, kindly find the link in the chat section. I mean, find the link of yesterday's session in the chat section. You can go ahead and be able to follow through. So I'm just trying to make sure that I capture the class names, its field and input field. So let me come here. So field and input field. So the other property I can use, I can do Control F on my keyboard by clicking both Control and F and actually looking for those two. Oh, okay, let me make sure that I copy that name accordingly. I can even, yeah, let me just see if let me start with one at a time so that I just make sure that I am actually looking for something. So how about that? Okay, that is nowhere to be found. So that raises, that makes me kind of think, okay, so we have one for field and I can see here written field and input. So let me just confirm. So we have field and input. Okay, good. So this gives it a position of relative, a box of 50px, and a width of 100%. And we have the margin top, border radius has been added. Field input has a height of 100%, width of 100%. So because it's inside a container, it will not occupy the whole screen. It's just purely going to occupy the 100% of the container that you've put it in. So we have put it inside a container known as, especially for the field input, we have put them inside a container known as form. So okay. So I believe what we should be focused on is this class field, because that is where we have the distinction between the first div or the first container and the second one. So we need to put a space between those two. So I'll come back here and consider also adding margin bottom. Give it 20px. So if I come back to my code and refresh it, nothing much seems to have happened. Wait, why did I write dot form? This should be form because I don't have I don't have a class called form. So actually, oh wait, I do. So form, and these are class form. Okay, form, and then dot form and dot field. So field here. Okay, that's okay. So let me see. Actually, let me reduce also the height since they seem to be a little bit bigger. Okay, no, that's too small. Do 40. It was 50, so let me do 40. Can maintain it just as 50. Coming to think about it, it's not that bad. It was not that bad. I think let me increase the margin top. Okay, perfect. Looks a little bit better. Let me also do the same for the margin bottom. Perfect. So now at least it's looking almost similar. We can add if we want to increase that. Preferable, let me you add just the margin top. I hope it is not increasing too much. Let me see if there is too much space between the login. What I mean is this space here. Yeah, so we can leave it at that. There is nothing wrong with that. So we are almost going towards our goal. Let us change this to purple so that when I hover as well, there is this underline. Let me confirm what is happening right now. There is the underline, but it is there even without the hover. And we need to increase the size. So I'll come to where it is written. I'll first find that. So form link, class form link. So I'll come here and I will scroll down to where we have the form link. Yeah, there it is. So and also here is the form link. So inside the form link, remember, because the form link is a div, so a div means it's a container. So below it we now have the anchor tag, which adds our link. So I'll continue with that. So inside the form link, let us go ahead and add the code. So just a minute. That changes our font to the purple. And also when we underline, we want to have, I mean, when we move our mouse, that's when we want to have the underline, and when we don't want to have it. So I'll come here and I will say, to remove the underline, we normally just say text decoration. Let me remove, not for the span. Let me just make sure I am only, because this should be form, see I've written form link, should be form link. Let me see if that had affected anything. Okay, so at least it has increased in size. So and the color. Okay, so if I come back, because I only want to change the styling or the color of this forgot password, so I'll move away from editing the span. So let me just show you what the span is about. I haven't yet added it, but it will be there when I'm adding the login with Google option. When I'll be adding this login with Google option, we will see that span field. So because we will use it then, that is why here I have gone ahead and added it, just to have it already in place. So I'll come back. I'll pick form link anchor tag. So I'll say dot form link anchor tag, and I will say I want it to be purple in color. So I'll say color to be the purple. So the purple, the code that we were using is actually, here it is. The other thing I'll say, the text decoration to be none. So this text decoration is what removes that line. So we will add it only when we are refocusing our image. So there it is. That's how it looks like. We can increase the font size. I feel like it's a little bit small. Let me refresh. So yeah, that's not too bad. So yeah, so we have been able to add the form link. I mean, to style it, let me make sure that now when you move your mouse over it, it actually changes color. So I'll just go ahead and say, I can just write the same thing and say form link a hover. We want it to be text decoration. We want it to be underlined. So anytime we hover our mouse over it, we actually want it to have a line. So there it is. So anytime we move our mouse, it actually changes in color. Okay, so what do we have remaining? Let us go ahead and look at ours. So we have the login. So we need to add the don't have an account sign up option. So I'll come here now below the login. So in my index.html, that's where I'm going to start from. So just below the login button, just a minute. Okay, great. So I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to add a form link, almost the same as the forget password. I'm going to add the same class so that they just share the same characteristics, the stylings that I have already added for form link. So whenever you feel like you would almost want something to have the same characteristic, that is why it's good to just give them a common class name, and then you can just, rather than writing the styling over and over again, it is just pretty straightforward for you to have the stylings being shared. So don't have an account. And then now we add a href. Excuse me. So remember we said the A tag, which is also known as the anchor tag, is used to add links to our web. You can like add links to redirect users to different things. So currently I don't want them to go anywhere. So I will just add a hashtag as a default value for now. So class, I'll also give it a class name so that I'm able to just style it. And then I'll say sign up link. And this will be particularly useful when we are adding our JavaScript. So in between now, the anchor tag here is where I will write the word sign up. So maybe somebody might ask, okay, so what does the span do? So if I come here to this documentation, let me just show you span. I hope they have a good example that they have showcased. Yeah. So with span, basically, you can just say it allows you to be able to put different elements in one line. I'm able to combine two HTML elements in one particular line with the advantage of having a span. So, and also the other thing, when you put an element, even if it's not two different elements, if maybe I have one sentence and I want to style differently in each sentence, I can put a span tag in between the word. So for example, like the example they have put here is they have a span class ingredient, and then they have added basil, and then pine nuts, and then garlic and blender to blend the paste. So what they have done is they have now gone ahead and styled basil, pine nuts, and garlic to be red in color, and then the remainder of the text just maintains its original color. And you can even go the extra mile, and maybe you want if basil to be red, pine nuts to be green, and garlic to be yellow. You can be able to do that with the benefit of using a span tag, and this will still allow you to still have all that in one sentence. So it's mainly used to just group elements and especially put elements in one sentence, and you can also use it to, it's mostly mainly for CSS purposes. Span really helps you to manipulate stuff inside one sentence or one element using CSS. And the other thing is you can add another element inside that span. So that is why it's very important to have that span. So I'll come back here. Let me refresh this so that we can see how this is loading. So we are saying don't have an account, sign up. And we can see it has already picked up this password, forget password styling, that I had put that it should be purple in color. And then when I move my mouse over it, it shows the underline. So because I have used the same styling, remember I have not styled yet, but because I have the class as form link, and at the top of the just on top of it, I had styled forgot password with a class form link, and I added a class, and I said for anything that has a form link and an anchor tag, let the color to be purple and the text decoration to be none. But when somebody moves their mouse over it, let the text decoration to be underlined. So that kind of helps us to have a standard style that's already added just by automatically adding that tag. Okay, so in case you have any question or anything you need me to repeat, feel free to drop it in the chat section. So let us move on to the next part. So the next part of our form is now to add this line here that has the word or, and then it gives you the option of logging in on Facebook or logging in on Google. So my color is not working. What could be the problem? The problem could either be how you have written color. I know, first of all, for those of us who are listening to this and they're in Kenya, make sure you're not writing color with a U. It is written color, just COLOR. So make sure everywhere you're writing it in programming, we write the color without the U. So if you're sure that the code that you have is correct, and you will know the code is correct when you see a small box that shows you the color code. So if it's not picking up that box, that means also the code is not correct. So whether you add it as a code, as the name of the color or RGB, it should be able to show you a small box showing you the color. So check on those two things. Those might be the main reasons why your color is not working. So the next thing is we are going to add that line that allows us to be able to have the or. So let me go ahead and add it. So I can choose how I want to add it. I can add it as a horizontal, and I can add it as a line and style it on CSS. So we are going to do the latter. So if I want to add it as a horizontal, maybe let me just show you. As a horizontal, I can use a HR tag, which we call a horizontal line. It does not need to be closed. We call it a self-closing or a void tag. It does not really need to be closed. So if I come here and I refresh, I can see there is a line. So now I can go ahead and start styling it on CSS and so forth. The other way I can add that line is I can come here, create a div, and give it a class inline, like that. And then, sorry, not inline. Let me use the word line. Line. And then, because we said whenever you're giving class names, they should be descriptive of what they're doing. So it's very good. It's very important that we make sure we put descriptive names. So because this is a line, I'll now go ahead and add more CSS to it. So first of all, the first thing I'll start with is position. And I'll say the position to be relative. So remember we said when you say the position to be relative is you're saying position yourself relative to the content flow, or relative to how the information is already presented on your website. So if I come here, maybe just to show you, to repeat this, because I know sometimes positioning is not easy to get on the first go. Let me see if they have written the position well here. Okay. Yeah, this is not a bad visualization of position. So for example, this is position static. So it's you really can't do much with static. It's just going to be there. So there are different, first of all, let us just look at the different types of positions. So when something is static, it's just positioned according to the normal flow of the document, so of the HTML file. Relative, it's positioned according to the normal flow of the document, and then relative to itself based on the values. So it's first positioned to the normal flow of the document and then relative to itself. It's like I tell you, stand next to your relatives, and then I tell you, move behind 2 steps. So you are 2 steps next to your relatives. Yeah. So it's just based on the normal flow, but now based on also the flow of or the styling of yourself. The other thing is now absolute. So absolute, they're saying here the element is removed from the normal document flow. So it's removed, and no space is created for the element in the page layout. So it is positioned relative to its closest positioned ancestor. So it is completely removed from the normal document flow. And then now, based on who is the element that is just next to it. For example, if I say that I want, let us use this visualization. I want this forgot password to be absolute, and then I come and say top to be 50%. It will be completely outside this document, but it will be relative to the parent element of this HTML component. What do I mean by parent element? If I come back to my HTML file, like here, these elements, they have some sort of family structure. So the first element is, remember I said the doc type is just a declaration. It's not necessarily a HTML element. But the first HTML element we have is the HTML tag. So if you look at it, everything else is enclosed. And we said that everything you write in HTML should be enclosed inside the HTML tags. So in essence, it's like that HTML tag is the parent of everything. It's like it's everything is under it. So it's, for example, like in your family structure, who is the oldest person, and we consider that maybe the root of the family, or everyone in your family can say that they have some point of origin to that oldest person in your family. So the HTML tag allows us to be, in that aspect now, it acts as the parent element or the root element of everything that we write. So now we can say the head tag is a child of the HTML element. And then the title, the link, and these 2 links are children of the head element, but they are grandchildren of the HTML element. So there is some ancestry even in the HTML element. And we can say these 3 because none of them is inside each other, but all of them, they're inside the head tag. We can say they are ancestors, like, or they're not ancestors, sorry, they are siblings, and they are related to each other. So that is how you go about looking at it. So yeah, so when they come here and they tell us that an element is removed from its normal document flow, and then no space is created for the element, and then the element is positioned relative to its closest positioned ancestor. So it's who is its closest ancestor when you come to this structure. When you look at it, is there anything that is its ancestor? And when you say ancestor, your siblings cannot be your ancestors. It has to be most probably like the parent element. So if maybe this link tag was positioned absolute, we would say we would look at it based on the position of the head tag, because the head tag is the parent. Yeah, so so that is how we go about it. The other one we have is fixed. Fixed, the element is removed from the normal document flow, and then no space is created for the element, very similar almost to the absolute. So let us see the difference. So it says the element is positioned relative to its initial block or containing block. So it's almost very similar to the absolute, but the thing is with fixed, it won't move away from there. It will just be positioned to that element, and that position can just stay like that. So go ahead, and if you feel like I'm not still fully understanding, I'll send this link in the chat section so that you guys can click on it and read on it. It might take a minute, but the more you just look at the different things, you will understand. So here we have static in this demo. Okay, yeah. So to see the effect of sticky position, this is something else. So we have static, it's based on the normal flow of the document. We have relative, so you can see it is relative, and then it has, so we said if it's relative, it's completely removed from the normal flow of the document, and then now you position it. I want top to be 40%, so it's based on the top, and then left to be 40%. So it is based on now these dimensions. And then we have absolute. So absolute is now going to be top 40% and left 40%. So you may see, you can see it's a little bit different than the way the relative is looking, mostly because relative is dependent on its current position, but absolutely dependent on its ancestors' position. So sticky, it just sticks to the top, like that. Even if you scroll, it stick to the top. And this feature is mostly used to, it's not only to the top, it can also be bottom left. It sticks to the position you tell it. So like this one, they have said 20, top to be 20 px. So it will stick 20 px to the top at all times. So this is mostly a feature that is added on the nav bar. The nav bar is this top part where we call it the navigation bar, such that if you scroll, it sticks to the top. It does not leave the top. So that is almost always position sticky at that point. So yeah, so let me drop this link. Go through it. Positioning might take a minute to fully understand, but as you keep practicing and writing about it, you will get to have a hang of it. So I'll come back here. Guys, just give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. So let us go ahead now and add that line. So remember, currently our goal is to add this line, the or. So I'll come back. So I have said there are two ways you can add it. You can use the HR. However, let us see how we can add it with the line. So HR just adds a line, but we want to add some text. So we can for sure try and make use of the line, the container, the div, and then we add some information in it. So I'll come here and I will say position to be relative. I'll give it a height because the line is very slim. I'll just give it 1px, and I'll go ahead and give it a width, and I will say for it to be 100%. When I say 100%, it's not going to occupy the whole street width, because we are talking about 100% inside the form. So the form already has, because it is a child of the form element, you can see it's inside the form. So, and because we had already defined the width and the height of the form, if we scroll up, we had said the width and on the height of the form to be, let me see. Yeah, here we had said the maximum width to be 430, and then this is just the width of if you're on smaller screens and so forth, but we say that we want the maximum width to be 430px. So that is what allows us to be able to have a width even here of 100px. So we are just talking inside the element. So here when I say, let me clarify something. Here we have said the maximum width to be 430px. And here I've come again and written width to be 100px. What happens is, because the form is also a child element of another element. So here the form is inside a class known as form content. So if and this form content is also a child of a class known that has a class name of form. So I can come here and confirm. Do I have, wait, this was for the form content, actually. So the form itself. So I'm seeing that the class form is what I have actually put as the maximum width to be 430 and the width to be 100px. So this I am talking about the elements inside the form. Now inside this form container, all these that can be found inside it, to occupy 100% of that 430. So you want it to occupy 100% of that 430, so that even when I come in here and I say width to be 100%, it occupies 100% of that 430. And that is why now everything is able to be fit on the same width. Yeah, because we tell it to be 100% inside of that 430. So I'll come back here. The width to be 100%, and then I will say the margin, I'll give it a margin top, so just the space to be 36px. So the space that I want to be here, I want it to be 100%, so that is just this space here. We want it to be not 100%, 36px. Sorry about that. So let me continue. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a background color. By default, it will be black. So we have to give it a background color that we can be able to tamper with. So for values there, so if I refresh my screen, so now I can see that this color is showing this line here. Yeah, so any question up to that point? Anyone with a question up to that point? Okay, so I can see my color is still not showing. So it has to be the code. Maybe you can copy that line of code that you have written, copy and post it in the chat section so that I can see what you have on your end. So, and hopefully you connected your HTML to your CSS. Remember, you have to connect. We said CSS is like having a paint at the paint shop, and HTML is like having the building you want to paint. So you have to make sure that your paint gets to the building and you have a paintbrush to apply. So, and for us in HTML, we link them using the link tag. So I hope you have done that. If you've done that, just copy paste the link and look at it. So now we have a background color and we can see the line, but we want to add the word or here in between. So for that reason, I'm going to use this. So what this does, it will create an element in that selected element. Okay. So for example, here's the HTML. They have a link called MDM documents, and they have added the link using an anchor tag as they should. So they come and say, before, I mean, they add they take the element anchor tag and then they say dash full colon before, and then now they put content to be the icon for link. So what that does is it adds an icon in before the anchor tag or before whatever they wanted to show in this case. So we will also do the same. We will add, so in every anchor tag now, because they have not used a specific style, and here they have two anchor tags. So because they have added the word before, it's able to add that anchor tag, I mean that link icon in this case, because the content they have put is that link. So it adds now that icon for the link in both this and in this as well. And you can see there are several. They have, this is the first anchor tag they have for web dev. They have another one for W3 schools. And now they have another one for MDN docs. So for this one, now they have given it a class name and they have said, but for local class link, or the class that has the class name local class link, go ahead and add a particular image. So they have added this particular image and they have added more specifications on the width of the image, the height, the margin, and also how it should be displayed so that it can be next to it. So we are now going to do the same thing. So I'll come back here and I will say dot line